Bass resonator here. I want to talk to you a little bit about magnets. What do you mean magnets? You know those little things you stick on the back of pieces of art like this, so it'll stick on the fridge. That little thing looks like a nickel, and it's got some. I mean, it'll slide around, but it's going to hold a note on your refrigerator or something. But if you want a magnet, I have worn many hats in my life, but one of the ones that I have done, well, since around 1990, is I've been involved as a computer maintenance type person, and hard disk drives are so much fun. So if you ever have a hard disk fail on your computer, whether it's a laptop or a desktop, doesn't matter if it's a Mac or a Unix system or a PC with using Windows, whatever. If your hard drive fails and you take it to a technician, or a technician comes to your house, tell them to give you your old hard drive. There are some serious magnets in there. Now, this was one of my very first pieces in resin. I was trying to recreate Van Gogh's Starry Night, and I had it painted in there perfectly. I had the right color background and everything, had the tree and all of and the little. I didn't realize resin moved. So this is my Van Went. Anyway, I put a magnet on the back, and you look at it and you're like, what kind of magnet is that? It's thick. Let me go this way. It's thick. It's rich, it's chocolate, and you can't drink it slow. No, it's from out of a hard drive. And hard drives have serious magnets in them, because the whole process of the read-write head moving back and forth is the magnet going polar and then non-polar and pulling that magnet, that head, read-write head, back and forth. When you first turn on a computer, if you have an older one, and you hear that, that is the read-write heads in the hard drive zipping back and forth. Now, if you have a solid-state drive, a SSD, you're not going to hear any of that noise. But listen to the sound of, I'm not going to drop it, but listen to the sound of the magnetic. Now listen to the sound of this one. I mean, serious attraction. And getting it off is... You have to slide it sometimes. Okay, there. There. Okay. If you want a magnet, you're gonna have a piece that's bigger, and you want it to stick on a metal wall or on a fridge or something of that sort. You need to get some of these serious magnets. The longer a hard drive works, the more magnetism this thing develops. So it's super fun to deal with. So what I thought I would do in this video is a quick tutorial. If you get your computer repair person, I'm going to slide this camera back a little bit. If you get your computer repair person, if it's not you, to give you your old hard drive, if you have a laptop, it'll look like this. Okay? And this is one that has read-write heads in it. Okay, it's not a solid-state drive. Trust me. There's a whole bunch of Torx screws. There's 6 here, but then there's some other ones. This label, and I don't know if you can tell, there's a little ridgy right here. If you feel around, and then you'll find you're going to have to get access to all of these screws and remove them in order to get to those read-write heads. And then once you get the cover off of this, which I call a carapace, because you see I did study life sciences, zoology, bugology, biology, botany, so I know a little bit about those things. And a carapace is the outside. Well, I'm going to need a better tool than that. Just a second. Get out the old buck knife. This used to be the type of knife that Hunters. I don't know if they still do them or not. You see, there's that screw head revealed. And they're all of these, they're not Phillips, they're not standard, they're Torx. It looks like some people call it the Star. It's not a star. I mean, if you want to call it that, that's fine. I'm looking to see if there's any more screws. I don't think there are. So, you back those out. And these sometimes are really hard to get going. And they're exceedingly small on laptop drives. Very small. Okay, so then I'll do the rest of those. Let me show you the difference between a laptop hard drive and a desktop hard drive. Big difference. And it uses a different size. Wait, camera's going down. Going down. I'm looking down, Shrek. I like that movie, sorry. Flashbacks. There's another screw right there. Just take that whole label up. Okay. Now this is a different size of Torx. So I have... No, that's the one for the laptop. Still small compared to a lot of screws you'll find around the house. But look at the difference in size. Yep. Set those somewhere because they'll fall off. Put this away. They'll fall off onto the floor, and if you've got tile floors or wood floors or linoleum and they get under your feet, they'll scratch your floor, something fierce. So I'm not going to talk right now. I'm just going to start getting after these screws. Okay, you get to this point, and if you're thinking, oh, it should just come right off, you might need another think. Oh, well, make a liar out of me. Okay. Look at that. No wonder they were having problems with that hard drive. A piece of the read-write head had come off. This is the hard disk. This little silvery thing, and there's little pieces. I'll go into all kinds of stuff. The magnets are under here, okay, under this, and this is the read-write head, and it goes back and forth real fast, super fast, and it writes information on here magnetically, which is I may at the end show a picture of a piece I did for a computer, a guy that works in software development, and there's little screws. If you are a lady and you do not feel, or you are a guy and you do not feel technically savvy, I would say find a high school kid that likes tearing stuff up. They'll do this for you. I used to teach a computer maintenance class at a high school too, other than just choir. And my second son was in my class, and I was showing all the kids, okay, now this is how you take apart an old hard drive. And I was showing them how these things are really cool. Before I knew that I could, well, I used the magnets for other stuff, but before I knew anything about resin, I was showing, and I said, now you take all these screws out, and my son says, I didn't have to do that. My son's a big football player, weightlifter. Now there's a magnet right there. Now the one on the laptop are not quite as strong as the desktop ones, but there's one. Oh, and there's a, look at that. It's not quite strong. It's there. It's holding it in place. So there's two magnets on this one. Some only have one. Depends on what brand you're using. Depends on how many platters. This one has more than one platter, it looks like. And this is the platter. I'm not talking about the old singing group, the platter. That's the problem. You start getting these hard drives pulling apart, and those magnets will hold onto everything. Now at this point you're going to tear stuff up and break it, but you don't care because you're just looking for parts. Now I will show you a picture at the end of a piece that I made for a software engineer, and he said he wanted something that he could put on his desk, and so I made him a paperweight. Like I said, you're going to tear stuff up, and I called it the deconstructed hard drive, and in it is one of the platters and some of these screws, the read-write heads, which are these little tiny things, and they fly over the top of the hard drive as the platters are spinning. Now there's all kinds of little things holding this into place, and I wish I could be more destructive, but I can't do it. Come on, move the coil out of the way. Almost got it. And just when you think you've got it, you don't. Because you got to do something else to get it off of here, because it's stuck onto a piece of metal. That's the little magnet there. Now, how do you get it off? I got to go get some more tools. Just a second. Had to go get some pliers, because that magnet is stuck on that metal with a little bit of glue, and the longer it was in the hard drive itself, the more it intensified its magnetic grip. Oh, that's good. That metal just... What? It just flew across the desk. Okay. Now what I did was I bent that metal down a little bit to give it... I don't know if you can see that little gap that formed. Once more, I'm going to grab a flathead screwdriver, or a regular standard. That's not a standard. Just a second. Something that'll fit underneath the edge there, and then you just try and I pried it off, and there it goes. I got it. That's the magnet, and it's super strong for as skinny a piece of metal as it is. It's amazing. Anyway, what I was saying about that piece that I made for the guy, I had the platter, I had the read-write heads, and I had a magnet in the it was a little bit bigger than this, but I had the platter and the parts all around, and I called it a deconstructed hard drive, and he thought that was the coolest thing, because I had been watching with my wife. We liked watching the cooking channel or Food Network, and some of these people, they're going through these contests, and they're trying to get all fancy with their names and stuff, and they have a deconstructed sandwich, which means the sandwich is all in pieces all over the plate. And so that's what I did, was I had a deconstructed hard drive. Guy thought it was excellent. If you do not feel comfortable doing this, don't do it. You could damage yourself with some of these parts. They tend to have really sharp edges. A little bit worse than... because most people don't go into hard drives. Okay. Now, remember I told you when you think you've got... Okay, so I got the little one done. All of that can be thrown away now. On the larger hard drive, they usually have some type of a stickiness. Yeah, it's got some junk in there. It's got some type of a gasket seal. There, okay, that came off pretty easy. There, and it holds it down really good. Notice the difference in the size of the platters from the small one. Okay, this hard drive, I'm looking, there's a little, has 2 platters. I don't know if you can see in there. No, you can't. I got a little bit better angle. Well, let me see if I can do this. Close your eyes and then turn it back. There's 2 platters in there. Okay, so if you want these little rings right here, I don't know what kind of material it's made out of, but they don't weigh anything at all. They're really fun. I have way too much fun playing with stuff. And you can throw them and stuff, but these platters, they're super shiny, and they don't weigh much, but they're cool decorative things if you want to put them inside a resin piece. I've seen some people that do things for hunters, and they put bullets or bullet shells in there, which is fine. You want to do that, that's good. Good on you. I think that's all. Oh, good, I got it. Okay, this is not one of the big, that's what I was looking for. These are not real, they're strong, but they're not as strong as this one, which is a thicker one. But man alive, they have some serious pull. So if you need something heavy duty, go for these type of magnets. But again, if you don't feel comfortable doing this, don't do it. It's not worth it. But if you're like me and you like tearing some things apart, or you have a friend or spouse or something that's handy with different hand tools like these, you can show them this video and they can probably see enough. But there's little torque screws everywhere. Take them off. This will show fingerprints in a hurry. I deconstructed a hard drive from my computer class. Took the lid off, that like I did right there. I left every component intact. And I took a piece of plexiglass and cut holes into it so that it was the same shape, so that my students could watch a hard drive in action. Kind of cool. But these, okay, that's got to come out of there too. Some of this you're probably going, what does this have to do with the price of tea in China? And I'm like, this is fun stuff. If you like exploring things, using things. I don't know if any of you ever were fans of the comic strip The Far Side. That stuff was my type of humor. Man, really funny. I'm not even going to get that out. Anyway, that is loose. I'm after the magnets, right? So in order to get the magnet, I need to bend this coil up out of the way. And see if I can finagle. Man. Use my Well, I was trying to break that off, but I can't. There. Now I got my, or bend it up at least. Now, do I have enough space to get that out? No, it's got to go over that little spacer thing right there. Space. I got it out with that one. Yes, I got it out without having to do too much stuff. Okay, now see if I can get this one off. Wow. That magnet is strong enough to grab the pliers out of my hand. It'll leave a mark, but it'll go away pretty quickly. Sometimes these magnets will break because that stuff, that glue that they use to stick it down there, I don't know what kind of they use, but bonds so well to it that it just doesn't let up and it breaks. But even one of these magnets broken in half is still stronger than the ones you can buy, those little round ones that look like those little batteries that you have to put in watches and stuff. That one's hurting. Maybe if I do this. What? Come on now. Okay, so I bent it enough. Yay! That actually, well, stay there. That was actually one of the easier removals of magnets that I've had. Usually they're a little bit more stubborn. So, hopefully you learned a little bit of something here. Doesn't do much with resin, but if you need some magnets for your pieces, if you need something that's like this, is just a little piece of MDF, doesn't need much to hold it up. But if you have a thicker piece, you might want to try and get one of these hard drive magnets. This is Base Resonator at your service.